Hey Kelly, hey Matilda, thanks for joining us today. Thanks for doing this. So let's perhaps start by saying hi and introducing yourselves a little bit.
Yes, so I'm Kelly, and thanks so much for having us, Jeremy.
And I'm Matilda. Thank you so much
Hi.
for having us.
And we're the co-founders of Adventurist Backpack Company.
Yep. So tell me a little bit more. Tell our audience a little bit more about what you guys were doing before you started a company and more about the company.
Yes, so with Adventurist, we design minimalist backpacks for hiking and travel. And for every backpack sold, we provide 25 meals to families in need across the U.S. So that's kind of our whole big project now. And Matilda, you can.
Yeah, so before starting Adventurist, I actually just worked regular part-time jobs. I was, how old when we started? 23, I think, 22
That's
years
really
old.
young.
So yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, so I was, before starting the company, just driving Lyft and Uber and stuff like that. So it was just right out of college. So I didn't really have any plans solidified at that point, but kind of just going through life.
Right. Okay. So tell me, what was the inspiration behind Adventurist?
Yeah, so I'm from Sweden, and because of that, we travel a lot to see my family. And so during our travels, we always, need a backpack to use. And when we were traveling in 2017, we were going to go on this big trip. And we just couldn't find a backpack that we thought was high quality, fashionable, and for a reasonable price.
Exactly. Yeah. So the backpack industry has historically high markups. So especially with like handbags and purses and stuff like that. But even with backpacks, it's like if you find a fashionable, cool looking backpack, it can cost upwards of like $100, $200. And we knew that with first of all, we couldn't afford that ourselves. And second of all, fabric and zippers, the two ingredients of a backpack, shouldn't really cost, like $150.
Wow. So you're saying that zippers would cost more than $150? Did I get that right?
No, just the markups on the backpacks, because
Right.
backpacks are so simple, obviously the design goes into it, but it's just like fabric and zippers is all a backpack is made out of, same as a shirt or a jacket or something like that. So we get that there are really high-end backpacks as well, but for the casual traveler or the casual hiker that wants a backpack, it shouldn't necessarily need to cost $150 for a high quality backpack. Yeah.
Okay. So how long? So you guys are a husband and wife team, right? How long have you guys been married? Just curious.
So in December, we've been married for 5 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
Yeah,
let's go back to the business. So about the launch journey, how did you guys create your prototype and how did Adventurist, scale production when it comes to increasing demand?
Yeah. So basically, when we first started, way before we had the company, not way before, 6 months before we had the company, we started sketching the design on like a napkin in our apartment. So it was really like we weren't even sure we were going to do anything. We were just kind of looking to see what we could draw up. And then so after we had something that we thought looked pretty good, we decided we would actually try to make it happen. And we went to Alibaba.com, which for anyone who doesn't know, that connects basically companies with manufacturers. So we were able to find multiple different manufacturers around the world, send them our designs, which we upgraded a little bit from the napkin drawings onto graph paper and actually made them, good, I guess, and sent these to all the manufacturers. And we got a bunch of samples back, and that's kind of where it started out.
Right. So how long did it take, from sketching the designs to actually getting these samples?
It takes a while. So it took us a couple months, usually. And then, there are always things you want to tweak. So you get a sample and then you're like, this part about it is good, but we want to change this part. So you send it back, and then it takes a couple of weeks to get a new sample. So it's definitely a process that takes a little while.
Exactly. Yeah, I would say probably between when we first sent our first design into a manufacturer and got the first sample back, it was probably at least 2 months. And then after that, you get a sample, and like Matilda said, you realize either they didn't have the same vision as you, or we weren't good enough in our drawing, so we have to revise a bit. And then, so yeah, it took probably 6 months before we got something we were very satisfied with.
Right. So, and then how did you guys move forward? How did you guys launch the business upon getting the final product that you guys were happy with?
Yeah, so we really launched our business with just a website that we had built ourselves through Shopify. And our first plan was to just have an online business, basically sell backpacks online. And then shortly after we launched, like the first week or so, we actually had a retailer reach out to us and ask if we did wholesaling. So we were like, yeah, I guess we do. And so after that, we kind of started gearing towards doing both wholesaling and online as well.
Right. So how long ago was this?
So this was just over 2 years ago. So, so we started the company in September 2017.
Right. Okay. So that was how you launched. You guys went out, probably did some advertising with Facebook or Instagram, and then 1 week later, a wholesale client came along, and you guys were like, okay, let's just try it out. So fast forward 2 years later, how has that changed? Has anything changed much?
Yeah,
definitely. So, we've learned a lot along the way, just kind of, well, neither of us have any background at all in anything, let alone business and, product design and anything like that. So everything has been a learning experience. But nowadays, like, we're teaming up with universities across the U.S., like UC Berkeley, University of Oregon, University of Arizona, and we're selling our backpacks through their campus stores. We also sell via Urban Outfitters. We were fortunate enough to get in contact with one of their buyers who ended up wanting to see one of our backpacks and then placed an order. So things are a bit busier for us now, definitely, which we're incredibly excited about. And yeah,
I think the only thing that hasn't changed is, one thing is our mission. So from the beginning, we always wanted to include, giving back as part of our business model, and we're still doing that, giving 25 meals for every backpack sold. And I also think that a second thing that we're still trying to do from the beginning, we've always tried to kind of bootstrap the company, and finding creative solutions to how can we get this out there without having to have a huge budget.
Right. So how much, just curious, how much startup capital do you guys budgeted for starting Adventurist?
So yeah, the amount that we started the company with was, I think, $6,000. So not very much. We took, we had savings of about $3,000 that we put in ourselves. And then my parents, we were fortunate enough to get, another $3,000 from them as an investment to help start the company. So yeah, it was $6,000, and all that money went towards just buying our first batch of backpacks. So after that, we had no money for advertising or anything like that. We were like out of money.
Yeah.
So how did you guys go to market, since, because previously I assumed that you guys, when you guys launched, you guys did some Facebook advertising, but then you ran out of money because of inventory. So how did you guys overcome that hurdle?
So we really relied on a lot of, the free social media advertising that you can do just by kind of starting to create a community around your product and your brand. So we're really all about traveling and experiencing, everything the world has to offer. So we started kind of trying to build a community around that, even a couple of weeks before we launched. And then, like talking about, coming soon, we're about to launch this awesome travel backpack. And so that, and then also starting, an email newsletter.
Yeah. Basically all the inexpensive or free things you can think of. We joined HARO, which for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it stands for Help a Reporter Out. So you can join that website and program, and then any press that is looking for input for an article might be able to feature you. So we've been featured in gift guides. I think from haro.com, we were featured in the Travel Channel gift guide just from replying to, a question from a reporter asking about any travel related products. So you can get lucky with stuff like that too. And we always think that if you have a strong brand identity and story, then you're able to spread that easily through press. All you have to do is craft up a good email and send it around to a lot of writers and editors, which you can find their emails just by a little bit of searching on Google.
Right. Cool. Like very interesting, like if you don't have money, go out and hustle. Like look for people, cold email people, build a community, look for all the free stuff. And and that might work out for you, right? So I'm just curious, is it the both of you running the show now still? Or do you guys have help already?
Yeah, so it's actually still just us. We're able to manage everything, luckily. So we basically have the whole company run out of our apartment. And so we're able to use that as a warehouse and office. So luckily we're able to keep costs low by doing everything like that.
Yeah, and that's how you will be able to have more money to give back as well, right?
Exactly. More money to give back, and then also more money to put back into the business.
Right. So how many bags have you guys sold so far over the last 2 years?
Let me see if I can figure that out.
Yeah, I'm not sure off the top of my head. Definitely several thousand, maybe like 10,000 or so, or...
Yeah, it's been, we would have to look in our papers to know that, but it's definitely been more than we could imagine at first. We were kind of like thinking maybe some friends and family will want to buy some backpacks, some Facebook friends might help out. So it's been really great for us.
Good for you guys. So it's always good to see a socially responsible company grow and do well. And a lot of people misunderstand that being an entrepreneur is always about, maximizing profits, how much do I make, etc., etc. And I think a better measure of a company's success is the business's impact to the community and also the money it makes. And, the both of you has already proven this point. But of course, if a company is not profitable, there's no way to give back to the community sustainably. Am I correct? Because if you're not making money, you can't keep running the show. So I suppose it's always a balance between these two things. So Kelly, Matilda, can you add on a little bit more about this? Because, I checked out your website. There's free shipping, free returns. There's also a lifetime guarantee on your backpacks, which is insane considering, you guys are keeping the prices really low and you guys are giving 25 meals for each backpack sold. So how do you guys balance this?
So just to start off, I think with the lifetime guarantee, our products, we have wanted to make sure that they're high quality enough that we can be proud about selling them to people. And with that comes, they should hold up and we can stand behind our product. So that's how we can offer a lifetime guarantee.
Yeah, exactly. I think also to the social component part, we seriously think that like the best way to solve problems in our own communities and the country as a whole, and maybe even the world, but at least in our country, is to give back through business. Because the thing is, it's not good enough, like you said, to just create a good product or service. Like, we should have like a responsibility as entrepreneurs to make the world a better place, like to actually have a good impact on other people around us. And so there are obviously other companies before us, like Tom's Shoes, that started the 1-for-1 business model that we're inspired by, but we also hope to inspire other companies that every single business should be giving back, because then we can actually solve the world's problems. Like, it's 2019, so no one in the US should be going hungry, but there are people that are going hungry. But the problem isn't that there isn't enough food. There's millions of pounds of food waste every year in the US. So the whole thing is finding a way to distribute the food, and it's all logistics. It's not a problem of, is there food or not? There's more than enough food. We just need to get it to the right people. And we think that business is a great way to do that, because, as you mentioned also, we might not have the biggest background in not the nonprofit work. So for us, it works to partner with a nonprofit who has all of that covered. They know exactly the most efficient way to give food to people in need. So we can focus on the business and growing the business, and with our profits, we can give that to Feeding America, who is our partner, and they can take care of all of the feeding part, which is, I guess, the most efficient way possible.
Right. Okay. Like, really inspiring and helpful stuff there. Okay. So now that we've already covered the juicy parts, the interesting part where we give back to the community and business and all that, let's maybe talk about something a little more grounded. How does your day-to-day look like now for the both of you? Let's start with you, Matilda.
So we wake up pretty early. Usually we do a couple hours of work right in the morning before we do anything else, sometimes before eating breakfast. And then we try to always get some type of exercise in, whether it's running or heading to the gym, and then come back, keep working. And we have all of the tasks and all of the things that we need to do for the business, we pretty much have divided between us. So that way we can get as much stuff done as possible, and we both know what we're supposed to do. So I take care of a lot of like the fulfilling orders, getting everything sent out every day, and also, preparing. Like, there's so many small pieces that go into running a business that it's hard to mention everything, but it's a lot of logistics, and it's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. Like every backpack needs to have a hang tag on it. We need to check every backpack, make sure nothing is wrong with it, so that we don't send out a faulty backpack. And then our day ends at sometime in the evening. It kind of never ends because we keep talking about stuff even after we go to bed. We can still talk about things. I guess that's the good and the less good part about being married and running a business, is that we never need to stop talking about the business.
Exactly. Yeah, we can always when the average business owner goes to sleep and has to wait to call their business partner the next morning, we can just figure something out at 2 or 3 a.m. and start working on it if we want, which is nice.
What about you, Kelly? How does your day-to-day look like?
So my day looks very similar to Matilda's, and Matilda also does all the social media for Adventurist. So that takes up a lot of time, like doing giveaways and partnerships with influencers on Instagram. And then on my side, a lot of what I do, like my job, I would classify myself as basically a professional emailer, which is something I never thought that I would do, but I actually enjoy it now. But so basically I'll wake up, and as Matilda said, we'll work for a while. So what I'll be doing is I'll be emailing universities and seeing if they might be interested in getting our backpacks in the store for spring semester, and telling them, our accomplishments, and, kind of talking ourselves up a little bit so that they're, able to see the benefits of carrying our backpacks. Then I'll be answering reporters' requests on Haro, and I'll be making an email to suggest our backpacks for a gift guide for the holidays. And then I'll be sending that out to a bunch of reporters for like Teen Vogue, what else? Like a bunch of publications like that, Huffington Post, even just really anything you can sort of think of that has a gift guide. And
during this whole time, we're also getting a lot of emails in from, retailers that currently have our backpacks or customer support, and Kelly takes care of all of that as well.
Right. So essentially you're the outreach emailing professional. I think you got that right. I think that's a great title. Okay. It sounds like, you guys have everything sorted out. So I just have one question. So I'm assuming that these two things, like social media, organic, building a community, influencer marketing, and also outreaching to people who might be interested in what your Adventurist message is essentially, and products is, right? So I'm supposing that the both of you are doubling down on these because these things have really, really worked well for you. Am I correct to say that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So everything that we do now, it's like we've spent time trying all sorts of different things, and whatever doesn't work, like right away, we scrap that, never do it again. And anything that does work, we keep doing it until it stops working. And so it's basically, just a big trial and error.
Yeah, and since it's just the two of us, we're just two people doing it, we have to move pretty quickly. Like, we can't keep trying an idea for months if it's not working. Then we have to move on, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like you guys have everything sorted out really in a really clear manner. So last question for you guys, okay? If you guys could turn back time, knowing what you know now, is there anything that you both would have done differently?
It's a tough question. It's hard to say because we're very pleasantly surprised with how everything's gone. We have figured out what we like doing in the business and don't like doing. We've found out what works and what doesn't work. And I think that like a big part of us, coming along to where we are today is based off of just like failing and succeeding in different areas. And I think that so I wouldn't turn back or change anything if we could turn back time, because we've learned so much. And I would also recommend that to everyone else who's planning or who wants to start a company. Is the best thing to do is to just start it, even if you're not quite ready.
There's never going to be a time that feels just perfect, so might as well start it now.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. So let me rephrase that question a little bit. Okay. Since you guys don't want to turn back time, what were some of the things that you wish you knew before starting this business?
I think that just knowing in advance that if you put in the work and you give 100% and you just keep at it, it's gonna work out. There's so many times that you feel like, are we doing this for nothing? Or what are we doing here? Do we even know what we're doing? And then, something happens and you're like, oh, that's what we were working towards. It can be hard to see beforehand, but if you put in the work and just keep at it, it's gonna work out, I think.
Yeah. And I think also to that, it definitely feels like working hard doesn't always equate into something working out well for you. It's not just about work. It's about working efficiently and work smart, not hard. Because there's, like how you were mentioning, if you find the things that work for you, do those things. They might even be easy. For me, a lot of times my job is copying and pasting an email and changing the name of the person that I'm writing to. And it's as simple as that. It's not hard work, but it does work. So it's about finding the right things. And so I would tell myself that in the past, that like, you don't have to like work yourself to death, but you do have to find the things that work and continue doing them.
Right. Okay. So just wrapping up a little bit for Matilda, don't let self-doubt kind of make you feel bad. Just believe in what you're doing.
You off the path,
Okay.
Yeah.
And then on Kelly's end, it's work smart and focus on the things that really drives the results.
Exactly. And one last thing to sort of add on what Matilda said is that what I was thinking of, and I forgot when I was talking, was that there are so many like peaks and valleys in running a business, like even throughout one single day, let alone a week or a month, that you just have to like stay calm. Everything is going to be fine. It seems so many times like the business is on fire. It's going to die. Like things aren't going to be okay, but then they actually end up being okay. So the thing is like, just remember to stay calm. Even though it's impossible in the moment. So this advice actually might not work, but try to stay calm. Things have a way of working themselves out if you let them.
And I think the mindset kind of has to be, it's not over until it's over. Like, even if it feels like everything is going to collapse any second, just like, don't worry, because if it hasn't collapsed yet, then you're still going.
Go off, take a run, listen to a podcast, take some time to breathe, and then come back to the problem, and you can figure it out.
Right. Is there like a particular experience that comes up to mind when it comes to the business is on fire and stuff? Like, can you share a little bit about that?
So, like, for one example is like, I think one of the most complicated things for us learning in the business, it was like how to get a manufactured product to the US, because we manufacture in China right now. And before that, we had no idea about customs or freight forwarding from the port in Los Angeles to where we are in Colorado. And so like I guess we just imagined that things would end up on our doorstep like Amazon Prime, but that's not how it works when you order like a product in the like thousands of units. But anyways, so like I can think of like times when we've ordered backpacks and there's been like something is messed up with some sort of customs information. And they're like, if you don't get this right within like 3 hours and send us the info, then it's going to be stuck in customs and you're going to be fined $10,000. And it's just like, oh my gosh. So you have to like be emailing the manufacturer in China, who is possibly asleep by the time that, you're awake and doing your stuff. And then you're also emailing your freight forwarder who's over in Florida, who also might be like after business hours. And so it can just be stuff like that that's stressful, that it's like, we need this info or else we're going to be charged $10,000, which we didn't have at that moment. That was like near the beginning. And so it's like, you just have to step back and think for 5 minutes and then just do it, just like solve it.
Right. So, you guys just filled out the forms and everything to the customs department yourselves?
So we get information from our manufacturer, and we end up forwarding that information to our customs agent, who then does everything for us.
Okay. So was that within 3 hours? Just curious.
That has happened. Yes. So usually that's not how it is, but there's so many people that need to be on the same schedule for things to work in the right time frame. And the first time you do it, you don't know that. You don't, like, we didn't, at least, because we didn't have any experience. So we were like, oh, it's fine, it's going to show up. And then it turns out that we hadn't like sent in something that we needed to send in. And it's just a whole. And
another example that I guess is maybe more relatable is just like things being delayed. Like we get our first order from Urban Outfitters, which we cannot mess up with, because if we mess up with them the first time, then they'll never order with us again, right? But then we have these backpacks being sent, and the manufacturer says, this part was actually missing, so we're going to have to be delayed by 2 weeks. And we're like, we can't be delayed by 2 weeks because we promised Urban Outfitters we would send the backpacks to them by this date. And so it's a bunch of stuff like that where it's like, well, if we don't get into Urban Outfitters, then we don't grow the brand, and then the brand just slowly, deflates. Yeah, it's stressful stuff like that, but it happens all the time. And the thing is, usually it ends up working out. So you lose sleep over thinking like, the backpacks aren't going to show up on time, but then they show up the last day possible that is on time, and everything ends up working out.
Or they're a few days delayed, and then, even the people working at Urban Outfitters are also just people. So you email them and you're just honest and, say like, this happened with our manufacturer. They're going to be 2 days late. Like, is this okay? We hope so. We're trying to do everything we can to get it there on time, And usually people can, want to help you out. So it usually works out.
Right. So really, really cool stuff. And thanks for sharing all these really candid stories. So before we end this episode, is there anything else that the both of you would like to add on to the Hustler Nation?
Well, if you guys want to check out our website and the story behind our backpacks, as well as, we have our process of how we give back through every backpack sold. And that kind of can help in figuring out a good way to have a social cause along with your business. But anyways, our website is adventuristbackpacks.com. So that's Adventurist Backpacks plural.com.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so guys, for those of you listening, it's ADVENTURISTBACKPACKS.com. Okay, I'm going to put that in the show notes so you can check that out after you're done with this episode. So Kelly, Matilda, I think this is one of the more interesting episodes. You guys have an interesting story, and I would like to say it's a pleasure having the both of you on the show. And thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy, for having us.
All right. Have a great day, guys. Bye.
Thank you too. Have a good one.
Take care.
So, Hustler Nation, that's the end of this episode. If you enjoyed it and know somebody else who might enjoy listening to this episode, please share this episode with that person. Also, if you're looking to be, a hustler but you don't know where to start, the key here, from what we've learned from this episode, is to just go out and do it, okay? But if you need a little bit of extra help, check out the Hustler website at www.hustler.com, because we produce a ton of comprehensive resources and guides on starting a digital hustle in the 21st century. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. See you next week, okay? Bye!